All right. Well, race fans, to the Elite Racing Network telecast of the JoinAPS.com Cup Series presented to you by Byrd. Like Rihanna and Eminem, you are going to need to make monsters with friends with the monster up under your bed tonight because we are at Dover International Raceway here. Miles, the monster who has been known to eat some drivers up for lunch, might have a snack or two once we get all things settled here tonight virtually at this famed 1 mile racetrack. I'm joining the booth with Rasav and Rasav. We don't have to talk about Dover and Willy Wonka together, but do you want to know why I bring those two up together?
I'm curious now. Why do you bring those up?
Because tonight is basically a golden ticket. Somebody is going to have that golden ticket to get their championship hopes to Homestead by winning here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 3 more races to go before that Final Four event. A lot of guys with shots to win this thing here today, and you kind of look at your starting grid. Scott Crump, Chris Wright, both of those guys in the fight for that championship 4. Chad Frankenfield up there as well. Same thing with Nick Massey. Tate Lytle, our current points leader, so Jared Rexing as well there. So look to the front of the field right now because all of your championship favorites are starting right up front. This is going to be a really exciting one, I think, just because of we've seen how tricky these cars are on short tracks. We've seen that all season long. This track, obviously a little bit longer, a little bit more high speed with the banking that you get here at the Monster Mile, but also we know, talking to some drivers, it's going to be a little bit tight if you go just offline. If you do stay in line, though, you should be good to go. The field, though, is getting ready to hit the green flag. Just one pace lap here getting underway, and take it away, Scott Crump leading the field to green.
The road to the championship 4 begins right now with Scott Crump on the loud pedal. He and Chris Wright lead him down into turn number 1. 200 laps to decide tonight's battle at the Monster Mile.
Absolutely, and there you go. So Scott Crump with the start that he wanted, but Chad Frankenfield, look at that. That's that inside lane starting behind your pole sitter. That's what you really benefit from, and Frankenfield up into second spot. Look out here, Josh Adams on the top lane on the outside of Nick Massey. Adams not going for a championship here. He's been part-time this season despite how good he's looked at times here this season, but right now he's out there just to win races or potentially help out teammates that he has in the fight. But look at this, I mean, just an absolute craziness going on here in the middle of the pack here. Guys swapping positions. Oh, and Tyler Fody loose. He gets turned by RC Anderson. Does he keep it pointing in the right direction? Not quite. I think the caution's going to come out there, and it does.
He did all but go around, and actually a couple of cars did go around behind him. And our first caution is out as a result. Tyler Fody with a bump in the middle of turn 2. Let me tell you, you typically don't hang on with how the banking is here at Dover. 24 degrees up in the turns. You can try and appreciate just how difficult it was to save that race car as we see trouble break out behind him.
Oh, so this is everyone checking up. So you see there, that's Kyle Hanshaw in the 93. So we'll actually hop back a little bit forward to that. We saw Michael Hossack got incident. So Hanshaw checks up. He actually gets hit in the back by the 64 of Andrew Rucker. The 29 there of Jordan Owens also just scraping past. Rusty Capel involved in that. I think, is that Josh Robin as well there in the number 8 car? Big
yeah, it was a lot of nose damage. And wow, Michael Hossack, I'm telling you, if it weren't for bad luck, that man would have no luck. That is 2 weeks in a row. That 24 car has been heavily damaged early in an event, and it has not been his fault. That just goes to show the importance of qualifying and going well, because these guys that started in the back of the pack already were in trouble at the drop of the green flag, and it did not take long. Let's take a look to see how this really broke out. With Tyler Fody, he gets loose underneath the 25, perhaps. Oh, just a bobble in the middle of the corner. And that was enough to almost send him around, but behind him, people did not get the message that he was slowing down.
Yeah, that's clearly what happened there. And I don't know if we'll see much of the other incidents. I think they just happened out a shot there, as you see Jordan Owens just entering the frame. So, yeah, I mean, that's a tough start there for Tyler Fody. You can see now the 40 car sitting on pit road, getting repairs to that car. Josh Robin, Vincent Isabella, Harrison Talon, Jordan Owens, Dylan David Westergreen, Rusty Capel, Andrew Rucker, Chad Thornquist, Kyle Hanshaw, Michael Hossack, all of those guys on and off of pit road there for some kind of damage, all of them involved in some way in that incident. So, yeah, quite a few pretty big names there involved in that start crash. I don't believe any of them were our points drivers. We'll take a look here. This is what the points do look like heading into this race. Again, reminder that only 4 of these drivers advance after 3 rounds in the second round of the chase. 5 will go home. So thankfully, I don't think any of our chase drivers involved in that one, but could have been very close for a couple.
Yeah, very, very close indeed. You saw the importance of everyone trying to get single file up front. We had about good 7 or 8 cars do that, a little bit double wide between 10th place on back, but I'm guarantee you that's exactly what these guys are going to want to try and do once we get under the green flag once again.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is interesting. Obviously, not even a lap really fully run under green flag conditions, so nobody's going to come down pit road, change anything up. But I'm curious to see how this restart goes here now with Scott Crump picking that top lane. He now gets Nick Massey to line up alongside, or actually just behind him. Chad Frankenfield now lining up alongside. We'll see if that kind of start from Chad Frankenfield on the initial start of the race, if that's just there's a lot of pace here in that 15 car, or if it is really that benefit of being behind the pole sitter. We'll kind of see here. Look out for Nick Massey. He could make moves, move his way up into second. He's kind of in that prime position here on this restart.
So Scott Crump, our pole sitter, going to be on the outside here. Once that pace car dies on pit road, it is within his control to restart the race anytime. Still going to get slow before he gets going. He catches them sleeping on the bottom, but we are under the green flag. And Nick Massey, he did not get going at all in that 48 car. He'll lose 3 positions by the time they reach turn 1.
Yeah, Nick Massey, that's a really bad start there for the 48 car. Just did not respond in time there versus Scott Crump. So Crump, nice clean air up front, nothing to worry about. Chad Frankenfield then stays in second position. So we've got 3 chasers here in the top 3 positions, all going to be going at it for the win here because they do have everything to lose right now. Nick Massey, look out for him. Tate Lytle, the only guy who's semi-safe in the field here tonight. The rest of the field from second on to 9th, separated by just 7 points. Tate Lytle, though, has about 21 points ahead of second. So he has a little bit of a buffer, but obviously that can disappear very quickly over the course of 3 races and around here.
Yes, especially here where anything can happen, and it typically does. That 21-point buffer, it's nice right now. He'll need every bit of it as we go throughout this round.
Oh, we got a car around. It's R.C. Anderson's
round. Right in front of half the field. And looks like everybody else is going to try and get by him. Okay, a couple of cars into the outside wall to get around him as well, but R.C. Anderson has destroyed that automobile and taking other competitors with him.
Yeah, so
Brandon Key.
Yeah, let's take a look. We'll see the R.C. Anderson crash here again. What happened here just gets loose on top of Dustin Dewar, and that's a similar incident we saw there with Tyler Fody. And then there you see the incident there with Brandon Key, Dustin Dewar involved with that. The 28 car, that's Vincent Isabella, caught up there. Tyler Fody, I think, even caught some damage. Some of the other drivers, though, able to slow down in time. Let's see if we can watch this from Dustin Dewar's point of view, as there's some more incidents that go on with him and Brandon Key after this incident takes place. So there's the initial contact by RC. Dewar keeps going, and there you see Key. I don't think Key gets on the brakes there. Neither does Vincent Isabella.
He piled into the side of the 32 car, and then wouldn't you know it, Tyler Fody also involved again. I mean, we're not even on lap 10. And these guys, both R.C. Anderson and Tyler Fody, are involved. That's their second incident of the night. So not a good race to start for either of those drivers, and a lot of damage on the 50 right now.
Yeah, definitely. The 50 car, that's rough for him. Not one of our chasers. He's been running part-time, so not huge in terms of championship hopes, but yeah, that's a tough break there for RC. Brent Jones, Tyler Fody, Chad Thornquist are on pit road. We've got a couple of other drivers from the initial contact on that first caution. Dustin Dewar's on pit road, as you see there in the 32. So yeah, pretty crazy start to this race, isn't it?
The importance of qualifying up front. These guys that are currently sitting right there, still out clean race cars, yet only working lap 11. Pit road has been open right here. I don't think we're going to see any of our leaders go down, but a quick couple of caution flags here. Dover, it's been known to have a green flag run. What do you think is the game plan for these drivers currently up front? Do you think we'll see anybody take advantage if we continue to see yellow flags and perhaps go down pit road here early, or do we expect the long green flag run to mellow things out?
I mean, it's a rough start here if you're hoping for a lot of green flag running. 12 laps into this race, and I think we've barely run a single lap of that under green. But yeah, I mean, the hope is we'd get a solid green flag run in here. Whether or not we get green flag pit stops is yet to be seen. But yeah, obviously right now the goal is just keep the track position because it's pretty clear the incidents are happening further back in the pack, especially mid-pack. I think guys are just getting tight up against each other, and that's where you're seeing guys kind of loosen up or start losing grip. So you want to maintain the track position, stay up front where you're kind of able to run a little bit more of your own race rather than fighting a little bit harder for position further back. Probably by the time we hit maybe lap 20, 30, 40, if we're seeing cautions around then, that's when I'd start to say, okay, even though there isn't a ton of green flag pit stop or green flag running, you could potentially see guys going down for fuel strategy and things like that to change things up. Just go off strategy a little bit, and that's what we'll start taking a look at. It's tough to say right now, though, what you're looking at in terms of strategy, because we also don't know how many tires guys are taking either.
Oh, that's true. And I'm sorry, I did not actually get a good grip. What is our tire window and our fuel window here, if you even...
I actually don't have a pretty clear idea of that either.
We're great commentators up in the booth. Sorry for not doing our homework there, folks. We'll try to get an answer to that momentarily. Maybe we can poke in. But as we get the field double wide for our third attempt at a restart there, or at least second restart. The third time these guys have been double wide. They're early. Going to be lap 14. Scott Crump going to be working on the outside lane again. Hopefully, the guys behind him are ready. Had a short field here tonight. Only 31 cars, and already most of those in the back have some sort of damage.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Only 25 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, 25 cars on the lead lap, that makes it pretty tough, to... I mean, it's obviously nice for the chasers, I'll say, because if you have a bad race, you're not losing that many points. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see here, especially once we get around to lap traffic, because the field will be a lot closer as well, I think. But there you go, Scott Crump back to the green flag here. Another great restart.
Yeah, he's just gone, and nobody can really keep up with him. And Scott Crump looking for that magical win here that could propel him into the championship 4, as he gets a good jump on Chad Frankenfield, still winless for this 2021 season, but a win here tonight could change everything and put him in bid for what would be his hopes of a second championship.
Yeah, definitely. Frankenfield, he certainly knows how to come alive in the moments that matter, and right now showing that in this 15 car. Currently winless on the season, but I mean, he's shown some really, really strong pace, and right now, look at how fast that 15 car looks. He looks like he's ready to make a move here on Scott Crump, and whether or not this will be a good chance to see, for a chasing car versus somebody in clean air, do you have other lanes to work with around, this current version of Dover, and with these current, next-gen Cup cars, can you actually make a move? Can you run that higher line? You can see Chad kind of dipping his nose out a little bit, trying to see if he can make a run, but not quite ready to go up to that second lane.
I see that 90 car. He's actually kind of wobbled a little bit working on the bottom of the racetrack. That time he went up half the lane. He's kind of diamonding the corner, but he's losing time in the center of the corner right there, and that's where Chad's been able to make up so much ground. Now he'll go to the outside lane of him. But the 90, the line he's working, he's kind of using both lanes to his advantage there. That 15's going to have to find a way around him. But that 15 definitely looks faster than the 90.
Yeah, 15 looks like probably the fastest car in the field today. That last time around, I mean, he was the fastest car in the field by quite some margin, 22.55. A lot of the other guys around him running 22.6, 22.7s. We'll see again how that kind of balances back and forth there on that last lap. Scott Crump kind of responds Frankenfield into the 22.6s that last lap. Scott Crump once again 22.6. So right now what we're seeing potentially is a little bit of that aero stalling out on these cars, and maybe Frankenfield not quite being able to get by. It looks like he might just be faster, but the car isn't quite letting him go by. But these guys are certainly separating themselves from third place Chris Wright, almost a second now between third and second positions.
Yeah, just behind Chris Wright is Joshua Adams, having a great run so far. That 95 car in need of a good day here tonight. And right behind him, that 48 car, Nick Massey, are one of two multiple winners of the season. Excuse me. As Matthew Weeks is lined up just outside of the top 5, still looking for his first win of the season as well.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks, Tate Lytle, look out for those Pro Edge guys. They'll probably look strong here later in the run. They typically get stronger, I think, as the races go on in those Toyotas. But right now, I mean, the pace really belongs to Frankenfield and Crump, who have now separated themselves just by a second here over third place Chris Wright. And yeah, I mean, you can see Frankenfield, I think, is pushing Scott Crump along. They're both kind of forcing each other to run fast laps. Crump, though, has been responding these past couple laps. Pulled out just a little bit, maybe 2-3 car lengths here, more over Chad Frankenfield in just the past few laps. But yeah, already running lap 23, a 10th distance already hit here at the Monster Mile. This race could go by very quickly.
It very well could, but something that we will also be keeping an eye on are the tire wear. And we've seen these guys. This is something that we've seen out of, especially Chad, out in previous racetracks here. He's been fast on the overall beginning of a run, but he sometimes kind of hurts those tires, and that could really hurt him in his performance toward the end of a run. So we'll see if he's be able to keep a steady pace throughout this entire run as these guys continue to separate themselves. But now that gap has increased to about almost half a second between first and second. There goes Scott Crump with another blaming lap. They're going to put a lap on the 8 of Josh Robbins there. He's had some earlier issues as well, working lap 25. And right now, you see the battle on for third place.
Actually move a little bit further back here. This is the battle for 14th, where things are starting to heat up just a little bit on track. You've got Andrew Rucker, who's kind of back in this race now. They got the front bumper back on that 64. We're watching the 12th car, David Westergreen, Chad Thurnquist, and Alexander Vandesant all involved in this battle. Vandesant, one of our chasers, kind of a little bit mired back in the pack here compared to a lot of his competitors. So he's got some work to do in terms of finding pace in that 97 car. I mean, he's been really strong so far this season and has shown a lot of good speed, but right now not quite finding it there here at the Monster Mile.
Yeah, he is definitely going to need to pick that up, considering where his other competitors that he's running against for the championship are running. He finds himself on the bottom half of that grid and desperately needs to make up some time, as perhaps he's just struggling a little bit right now, currently behind the 12 and the 92. Just in front of them, though, another battle there is having a pretty good run, and I believe that's Dallas Myhan and Jeff Green just in front of those guys.
That would be correct. Yeah, Dallas Myhan, Jeff Green. Myhan here in this different looking 41 car here. I think that we haven't seen the yellow scheme too many times this season. But right now he's losing a little bit of time here. Jeff Green now chasing down Gerald Campbell, our defending champion. But Campbell, of course, not in the chase this year around. So Campbell right now, we talked to him, of course, at the end of the regular season. He's just going for wins every single season whenever he gets the opportunity.
Oh, you saw Dallas Myhan there almost go venture into no man's land right there. Don't know if there's very much grip in that extreme high lane, but he's running, my goodness, about a lane away from that outside safety barrier there. Don't know if it's working out for him, but he's trying to find something there.
Yeah, he is. You can see him just diving in deep into the corners. It is losing him a little bit of time here, though, to Andrew Rucker, as this 64 car, despite the big hit it took early on and you know, kind of being a part of that very first caution in the race, still a lot of pace there for Rucker. So you can see here, rolling that bottom lane around turns 1 and 2, it's working here for Andrew.
Yeah, Dover is one of those racetracks here where you're never ever completely flat. As we see Tyler Fody go down pit road, involved in our first caution flag of the night. Meanwhile, this battle heating up with Gerald Campbell and Jeff Green. Gerald Campbell way up high in turn one. That opens up the door for one, perhaps two, make it three, as Andrew Rucker is trying to get around them. And this Hornet's Nest is a battle all behind for 10th spot. Three wide, Andrew Rucker thought better of it. Gerald Campbell gets back into the gas there, but now he's under fire from both the 64 and the 92 behind him.
Yeah, Gerald needs to kind of find that bottom lane again. He's running really high up, and from what I've heard just briefly talking to the drivers, and I kind of mentioned at the top of the show, you run offline just a little bit, and the car tightens up significantly, and I think that's what we saw there with Gerald. He lost so much pace mid-corner, and that allowed both Dallas Myhan and Jeff Green to get by, and right now he's running in the middle of the track here, in mid-corner, one lane off the bottom you can see there, maybe even two lanes off the bottom, and you can just see how much faster Van de Sant and Rucker are mid-corner, where they're just able to catch up. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a better run, I think, off the corner, but I think in the grand scheme of things, the pace of that 31 car, he's got to find a way to make it work on the very bottom of this racetrack, because there you see, he just kind of had to block up Alexander Van de Sant, but it's pretty clear right now the 97, 64 are all faster than what Gerald's able to run here.
That 8 car there with no front end there has been down pit road, has newer tires than what we're seeing the current field on this lead lap. But that goes to show just perhaps how much tires already will play difference. Even on a car that is wrecked, you see them being able to fly around current traffic there on the lead lap. And that is the 8 of Josh Robbins. I don't know exactly how many laps down he is, but definitely, as we see, the 97, very vulnerable, got underneath the 64 car, those side by side, and that's just a very vulnerable area where we know you can find yourself in trouble. And it is Andrew Rucker and others on turn 4, and the yellow flag number 3 is out. That didn't work out in the way that I thought it would for the 97, but
yeah,
it was like Rucker who was an innocent victim.
Yeah, it really is. And Alexander Van de Sant just, I think, gets tight coming off the corner, comes up into Andrew Rucker. The guys who are really the kind of innocent bystanders on that one, Johnny Thomas in the 91 car, David Westergreen in the 12 car as well. Both of them took pretty big hits in that incident. Westergreen, you can now see, I think, had to tow back to pit road, so it might be day over for the 12, who I think was having a pretty solid run as well to get the race underway. So unfortunate there to see for the 12.
Yeah, Andrew Rucker, again, wrong place, wrong time, and a lot of damaged sheet metal on that machine. We've been able to run 38, now make 39 laps, so I believe these guys are going to be going down pit road, and adjustments are going to be made on all these race cars. Scott Crump leads them down 35 miles an hour. This is a grueling pit road, and we'll talk about this, how under speed, if you go down pit road under green, you can find yourself going 2 laps down. That could be important if we get a yellow flag during the midst of a green flag pit stop. They're in.
Yeah, here they are on pit road. Just need to make sure you slide properly into your box. They'll definitely be taking 4 tires here, fuel. You can see them all grabbing those other tires. We'll see what that race off of pit road looks like. Really quick stop for the 15 car. I don't think he's going to beat Scott Crump, though. He doesn't. But Chad, quick on pit road. 2/10 faster than what you saw from Scott Crump. Chris Wright loses a position, or actually 2 positions there, but Chris Hossack actually stays out on the racetrack, and he gains all the spots. He should probably end up coming back around, and I think he is sent back to the back of the pack.
So, Scott Crump with a great pit stop there, and the benefit of being the pole sitter, going to jump Chad Frankenfield right at that start-finish line and continue to lead here at Dover. We will take a quick break and be back with the restart here. Don't go anywhere. 40 laps are in the books. Welcome back to the Byrd 200 live on the Elite Racing Network. Up front, Scott Crump continuing to lead. He'll take that outside row as we are getting set for our third restart of the night. If you're just now joining us, it was a quick rash of yellow fever take over the speedway there. 2 multi-car wrecks, and then the latest victim here tonight, Andrew Rucker, after Vincent Isabella in the 97 got loose in turn number 4. Our third caution, a result of that. No one has been able to wrestle the lead away from the 90, but they've been able to make some adjustments for the first time today. How those adjustments play out, we are about to find out. Pace car is in.
Yeah, and here we go. The battle between Crump and Frankenfield will resume. Expect Crump to kind of get the better of Frankenfield on this restart here, but look at that 15 car. Does a really good job responding, but it's still going to have to settle in for second for right now. The real battle's going on just behind Chris Wright versus Nick Massey. Massey much better on the restart this time by running that outside lane, though. Can he get the run off the corner that he needs, kind of clear this 20 car, and kind of put him back in contention here for a top 3 spot?
Right now, we haven't seen much side-by-side inside the top 5 as everybody was trying to fight to get single file as quickly as possible. But now, with adjustments made, I believe we're going to see drivers try to compete with one another and protect their position. That's what we're seeing with the 20 and the 48 so far, but them being side-by-side has allowed everybody to join that battle. Here comes Matthew Weeks in the 11 trying to take advantage.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks now trying to see if he can get by the 48. So Chris Wright finally clears Nick Massey, and that might suddenly kind of open this back up to be single file. But look at this battle here: Jared Rexing versus Josh Adams. Adams a chase driver, or excuse me, Rexing a chase driver. Adams is not. So this could be very interesting in terms of how they race each other. But looks like Adams ends up conceding, and Jared Rexing on into the 6th position here. So that leaves Scott Crump, Chad Frankenfield, Chris Wright, Nick Massey, Matthew Weeks, Jared Rexing, your top 6. I believe all of them are chasers.
Yeah, right, you are.
So yeah, I mean, that's there you go. I mean, you've got all these guys going for this chance to be in the championship 4. Top 6 all showing that right now. Tate Lytle then running in 8th. Again, has a little bit of a buffer that he can work with before we move a little bit further back and find who else do we have missing from our chase field here.
Well, Andrew Rucker was definitely... Oh, I'm sorry. He actually was not involved in our chase grid, but he's definitely one of those guys that is on the outside looking in. And I believe Alexander Van de
David
Sant.
Tooker I forgot about. Yeah, Van de Sant and David Tooker are the last 2 drivers there, involved in this chase fight. So Van de Sant currently sits in the 17th position. Tooker not racing tonight. So that's obviously going to put him in a little bit of a hole here to start with this race here in this particular round.
Oh, look at this through the positions 3rd through 6th, basically, practically nose to tail.
Oh, Frankenfield, I think, had a look for the lead here, and I think he's going to have a look off of turn number 4 as well. Here comes the 15 car. What a run.
Yeah, he got to the inside of the 90 car, showed him he was there in the middle of the corner, turn 3, and is able to take that. And there'll be no competition between the 15 and the 90. I think Scott Crump recognized that and wanted to get single file as quickly as possible, so he'll slide back in line behind the 15. A new leader. We'll see what that 15 now is made of.
Absolutely, yeah. Now we just getting to quarter distance here in the race. Chad Frankenfield now controls this event, so restarts. He's the control car, all that stuff. So, yeah, big news there for Frankenfield. To be completely honest with you, I think this is the best this 15 car has looked all season long in terms of just pure outright pace. If we do get a long run here, I'm curious to see how that pace continues to transfer over the course of the long run. But just on the short run speed, from what we've seen so far, man, it's going to be tough to challenge Chad Frankenfield here tonight at this Monster Mile. He's looking very, very strong in that Menards Ford Mustang.
And yeah, like you said, though, we want to see what that pace will be like toward the end of a green flag run, because he's been known to have some great fire-off speed. Will it be consistent throughout the rest of the run?
Yeah, that's the real question, isn't it? It's tough to, yeah, it's tough to obviously gauge that. Guys who have good pace in the short run typically You won't find them having amazing pace in the long run, but also with the way this car seems to be, battling right now, it looks like track position is extremely important. The way drivers are having to run on the racetrack, it could end up being that even if Chad maybe falls off a little bit more than some of the drivers behind him, and that's a pretty big if right there, he could still maintain that track position because he's got enough of a buffer just with the aero watch that these guys are getting. But Jared Rexing right there, certainly making moves here early on these fresh tires, full tanks of fuel. Him and Josh Adams both make the move on Matthew Weeks, and they move up. Rexing into 5th, Adams into 6th.
Yeah, so Matthew Weeks just had a bad set of corner right there. He'll fall back in line into the clutches of his teammate, who I am surprised there by the 56 car. Don't know exactly if he just feels comfortable here at Dover. I know House Monster, that track is not for everybody, but I expect our point leader to be kind of up there competing, at least inside the top 5. Is this a little bit of a letdown on that team and for him, considering what we've seen out of him so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising pace for sure. I mean, we're used to seeing Tate Lytle running, I think, top 3, fighting for wins pretty much every week. But I mean, it's also early days here at Dover. We don't know kind of what the strategy looks like for the 56. But even if this is what the outright pace is for Tate Lytle here today, and that might be what it looks like. He did qualify in the 7th position. Even if that is it, he thankfully has enough of a buffer where, I mean, even if, you've got a lot of these guys gaining a few points, he's still very much still within that fight. He had that 21-point buffer. It'll still be down to maybe, 18, 15 points or so heading into the next race, and he can certainly reset there. So I wouldn't be, there's no red flags right now if you're Tate Lytle. Obviously, you'd love to pass a couple more cars. He's got a teammate right in front of him, so we'll see how they race. Here with Matthew Weeks kind of falling off a little bit over the course of the past couple of laps. Potentially that could give Tate a little bit more freedom to chase down the guys in front as well if he's able to get by Weeks.
Just behind him, you see Dallas Myhan in that 41 car. We had mentioned him having a great run so far. And Jeff Green in the 10th position. These guys rounding up your top 10.
Yeah, I mean, how about this? Last time we were talking about racing, it was that crazy 3-way fight at the line between Jeff Green, Tyler Fody, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Going for the win the last race of the first round of this chase. Jeff Green just missing out on that victory, but still grabbing a top 3 finish. Looking for that first win still here in the Cup Series, but man, he's looked so good this season. I think was kind of just on the edge there of being a chase driver. Obviously he continues to run as a full-time driver here in the Elite Cup Series, continues to improve, and man, I think come next season, we could be talking about Jeff Green as kind of a perennial race favorite and potentially even a championship favorite, just with the way this 38 has continued to improve over the course of the past couple seasons.
Yeah, right now he's looking like he wants to improve on that position on the 41 car there, who's actually lowered his line just a bit from the first run that we saw him early. He was about as high as the safer barrier.
I was gonna say, I find it funny that that was just talking there about Jeff Green growing and improving as a driver. I'm talking about a Busch Series champion right there.
Yeah. Oh man, definitely a guy that could probably tell us a thing or two about what we're doing up in the booth. But it's easy for us to say here that, oh man. Up front though, Chad Frankenfield, he's been able to stretch it out. I believe what I'm seeing is about almost a 3-second lead in front of Scott Crump there. Is that right?
That
no,
was
not 3 seconds. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all good. No, that's 3 seconds over Jeff Green.
There we go. That's
a little bit more reasonable, but still half a second over Scott Crump. It's the most separation we've really seen from a race leader so far today, and that was primarily, I think, because it was Frankenfield hounding Scott Crump. But yeah, Crump falling back about another 10th on that last lap here. Frankenfield, consistently running about a 10th of a second faster than Scott Crump, and that gap's going to continue to grow here. So not only was that short run pace really good for the 15, but as this run continues to go on, at least right now in the intermediate phases, looks like Frankenfield's still the strongest car out on the racetrack.
Yeah, but that 10 car, Jared Rexing, he was just, we were just talking about him battling for 5th. He's been able to sneak his way up to 3rd, challenging our pole sitter there in turn number 2 right now. Jared Rexing is on a rail.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about we've talked about it many times when talking about Jared Rexing, and it's the word that comes to mind when you think of this 10 car is coming in clutch. Yeah, he'll certainly know what's necessarily when it comes down to crunch time. But how about this? I mean, what if he doesn't need to come in clutch? He wins here in Dover and has 2 free weeks to just kind of hang out and prepare for Homestead Miami for the championship showdown. That 10 car clear of Scott Crump now, and on the past couple of laps, he's been running a little bit quicker than Chad Frankenfield. So let's see now, clean air. What can Jared Rexing do? Can he now chase down our current race leader?
And these two, remember, Jared Rexing's last win came after passing Chad Frankenfield. I believe that was at Richmond earlier this year. So these guys have a history of being able to rock. Whoa, caution is out, and Scott Crump is in the wall. He got a piece of the wall just as the yellow flag there was blocked by the 20 car, who perhaps didn't like that at all. But yellow flag number 4 is out, and don't know why that is. Oh, there it is. Gerald Campbell into the outside wall at a turn 4.
Into the wall. That's the big one, though. Alexander Van de Sant, look at that 97 car. That's our chaser. Huge damage to that 97. Gerald Campbell involved in that. Jacob Adams, he's no longer racing in the chase here. But again, there you see that disadvantage of running towards the back of the pack for Van de Sant, running there in 17th position right now, but involved in that wreck. Going to have to come down pit road, and there you see him on pit road. We did see when that caution flag came out what happened to Scott Crump. Let's take a look and see if we can find exactly where things might have gone wrong here for the 90 car.
Yeah, he had put a big block on the backstretch there from the 20 car. He'd been losing positions, and just got a nip from the 20 right as that caution flag came out. So it's interesting to see. That's a pretty significant hit.
Yeah,
there's some damage actually to the right side of that wall there. He'll probably want to get fixed, and he'll probably lose the spot or two getting that fixed here on this pit stop.
Yeah, we'll see here. So Jordan Owens, Jacob Adams, Gerald Campbell all stay out on the racetrack. But the rest of the field coming down for fresh tires and fuel. Jared Rexing with a good run there. He doesn't beat Chad Frankenfield off of pit road, but does come out second. You see there, though, that pole sitter box remains occupied. Scott Crump going to fix the damage to the front left or the front right of that car.
Still caution out for the 4th time tonight, giving us a chance to pay some of the bills. So, Chad Frankenfield, your leader, once it cycles back around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the restart here in just a bit.
Thank you all once again for tuning in here for the Byrd 200. Byrd Racing is an American racing team in the NTT IndyCar Series. They support drivers, though, in all forms of racing, and make sure you follow them then on Twitter at Byrd Racing, always involved in different forms of motorsport, especially if you check out the dirt racing scene, IndyCar. They're pretty heavily involved there as well. Also want a chance to thank premier sponsor C2 Freight Resources. They offer complete freight management services and are ready to meet your needs today as well as your changing needs in the future. With thousands of qualified carriers in their database, they're capable of handling shipping for every type of good, from perishable foods to office equipment. Check out C2 Freight Resources, a proud premier sponsor here of the Elite Racing Leagues, and the announcement just came out today that they've renewed for the 2022 A season. So for a 3rd straight season, we will have C2 Freight Resources on board with us as a premier sponsor. Really happy to have that partnership there. Also want to thank Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses. For small business owners, Blue Egg Marketing is your absolute biggest fans. Whatever your constraints are, they help catalyze creativity, and Blue Egg Marketing can help your business punch above their weight class. Finally, want to thank Response Energy. If you're looking for a solid energy drink, especially in the Florida and Carolinas regions, as well as Georgia, get the response you've been looking for in an energy drink with Response Energy, typically available at your local Target. Though definitely check them out on Twitter as well, see if you can find their selling locations online. With that, the lights are off on the pace car, and Alex, we're getting ready to head back to Green Flag Racing here. Chad Frankenfield and Jared Rexing will be your front row.
Oh, and I was just about to say, Frankenfield looked like he was going to take the bottom of the racetrack there and decided to go and take the high lane. So that'll put Jared Rexing on the bottom there. Nick Massey and Chris Wright right behind him. And where is our pole setter? He has been sent all the way back to the 13th position, fixing that damage that he had.
So danger zone for Scott Crump. Obviously, we've seen quite a few incidents happen right around this spot here, mid-teens. You see Tyler Fode's damage right behind him, in fact, and you see some other cars with damage. So something to look out for if you're following Scott Crump here tonight. We'll keep an eye on that 90 car as well as the race goes on. See if he's able to move forward in the pack and make up some spots and kind of recover from that damage from that last caution. But here we go, back to green flag racing. It's Chad Frankenfield with the early jump. Look out, Nick Massey, though, might be coming to take over second position from Jared Rexing.
Yeah, this time he didn't let that 15 car get out to a big lead that we saw earlier, but he'll fall a position behind the 10 car, who's able to use that inside line to his advantage. And now they're single file in the front 5, and look who's been able to migrate his way into the top 5 for the first time tonight. That's Tate Lytle, our championship point leader right now in the 4th position.
Yeah, absolutely. Never count out Tate Lytle, especially early in a race. If he's running a little bit off the pace potentially, but there you go. A great pit stop for Tate, up a couple of positions on pit road. And now kind of fighting here with Nick Massey. Looked good on that initial restart, kind of settled back into a bit of a groove here, maybe not running too aggressively. Though right behind him, speaking of aggressive, Chris Wright, Josh Adams going side by side into turn number 1. Josh Adams looking to make up some lost ground on that restart there, and he does get by the 20 car, so knocks Chris Wright outside of the top 5. Josh Adams now back into that top 5. The top 4, all chasers there. Chad Frankenfield, Jared Rexing, Nick Massey, and Tate Lytle.
What I love about our sport here, how we still have the guys that are going for a championship are running amongst those guys that are still just trying for a win. The 95 car, Joshua Adams doing a great job so far, running hard with these chasers here currently, but not letting them have it easy by any means.
Yeah, not at all. And I mean, that's what you want to see, right, from these guys. You're still giving it your best shot. You want to end the season, build some momentum for the following season. And here you go. I mean, the pace on this 95 car is huge. Runs to the inside of Tate Lytle, an easy move there through turns 1 and 2. Josh Adams now up into the 4th position, continuing to separate these chase drivers. So Adams right now on an absolute roll here. This 95 car looking very dangerous as one of the faster cars out on the racetrack. I'm curious, once these guys kind of settle into a bit of a rhythm, what lap times look like amongst all of them. That last time around, Adams had to make the overtake, but he was still a 10th of a second faster than Nick Massey. So we could see this 95 in the top 3 here within just a couple of laps. But the top 2 look pretty much set right now. Chad Frankenfield and Jared Rexing. Frankenfield half a second in front of Rexing. Rexing a further 3/4 of a second ahead of Nick Massey in this 48.
Big loser in this exchange, though, has been the 20 of Chris Wright. He had started in that second roll. He's fallen outside of the top 5 there and under pressure from the 41 of Dallas Myhan.
Yeah, we'll see if he's being held up maybe a little bit here by Tate Lytle. Looks like he was looking to make a move down the back straightaway, but Tate smartly kind of protected to the inside here, but doesn't have the run off the corner. I think this is going to be Chris Wright's here. That bottom lane right now just seems so superior. Might even let Dallas Myhan slot in here. Tate gets the clear signal from his spotter and does slot right in front of Dallas Myhan, but that could have been very messy very quickly. We saw what happened when Tate got that clear message when he wasn't really clear.
Did we assume that he got that message, or did he just go down low? Because he took that spot trying to protect it here, but it might not be his just yet. Dallas Myhan's still going to try and argue. He wants that spot desperately, and he's going to give chase to our championship leader there. Just behind him, Jeff Green, and then Scott Crump rebounding. He's restarted in the 13th position. He's all the way up to 9th.
Yeah, really strong there from Scott Crump. Just continuing to move up past Matthew Weeks. So that's another chase competitor. That's another point off of a competitor that you're grabbing there. He's going to start chasing down Jeff Green here. Pace that last time around wasn't quite good enough to compete with Jeff Green, but that could have been an off lap. We'll see this next time by if he's able to improve just a little bit. Dallas Myhan, though, completes the overtake on Tate Lytle. So Lytle now dropping back to 7th position again, so kind of neutralized the benefit that he got off of pit road. So that, again, might actually be the pace there of that 56 car. Just not great on the short run right now.
But you know what? With the season he's had, on days where you're not your best, he's still having an okay day, and that could be enough to point him into the championship four. Let's talk about that here, how we have 3 races this round. We have Dover, Nashville, and then the Oval of Charlotte here. All those being what I refer to as a golden ticket races. There you win there, you're set up for a chance to win a championship at Homestead there, our finale for the Elite Racing Network. He is doing a great job so far of making sure he has the points, and I bring that up because no matter what, if we have 3 different drivers that go to victory lane, we will have one person making it on points. So if you're not going to have a good day, it's important to have the best point day you can.
Yeah, you're trying to grab as many points as you can. That's obviously kind of the name of the game here if you're not in contention to win, and that kind of might be what Tate Lytle's goal is here. So potentially even might stay out once or twice to grab a lap-led point if he's comfortable enough in the pace to end up in the top 10, or just might be pretty happy here running 7th all day long. It's nothing glorious, but it's certainly going to grab you the points that you need. And here you go, challenging back on Dallas Myhan side by side into turn number 3. He has that preferred line, and back goes Tate Lytle up into the 6th spot. Again, we're talking, we know how this plays out. 1 point could be a very big difference for a lot of these drivers. Tate Lytle just got that 1 point back, and that could potentially help him later down the line.
Tate Lytle there, humming along there in the 6th position. Up front, no change. Chad Frankenfield still in front of Jared Rexing. We saw Rexing there really begin to march just before that last yellow flag came out. Currently, though, has not been able to make up significant ground on the 15 there. Nick Massey, the 48 car, one of our championship contenders as well, having a great run as these guys begin to go around some lap traffic with Michael Hossack in that 24 car.
Yeah, not pretty spread out, actually, just towards the front. We go towards the mid-pack, though. This is the battle here for the 11th spot. Jordan Owens, Harrison Talon, Michael Goodman, Brent Jones all having a great little scrap over here. You see Goodman now slides to the inside of Harrison Talon. That opens the door as well for Brent Jones here. Shout out to these guys, all within the top 15 here, showing up with some pretty strong runs so far. And there you go, Brent Jones right now to the inside of Talon. Might try to make the move stick. Doesn't quite get there this time by. Has to settle, though, for the 14th spot.
Yeah, you can see him. He wasn't very comfortable with how the car was, and that had to get out of the gas there and allow the 23 car to get the position there. He'll live to fight another day and try to reel him back in. Meanwhile, the 29 and the 44, they are going at it.
Yeah, they're having a fun little scrap here. Jordan Owens filling in for Trevor Elam. You'll normally see in this 29 Reese's car, but Owens filling in tonight for the absent Elam and putting on a good result right now, running in the 11th spot. Fighting with Michael Goodman here again, putting on a great scrap between these two guys, just outside this top 10. And with the way the attritions played out in this race, this could be a fight for a spot well within the top 10, especially if some more incidents occur ahead of them. Which certainly isn't out of the question with just 15 cars right now running on the lead lap. A lot of cars involved in incidents today.
And while we're on this battle here, let's take a look at that paint scheme there. I mean, it is December 1st. Look at that. I love that paint scheme by the 44 of Michael Goodman there. Some green and white and red. That just has holidays just written all over it there, trying to get a present there and find himself inside of the top 10, but he's doing a great job so far.
Absolutely, yeah. The Miss Goodies scheme on that Michael Goodman car looks fantastic. Great, the second Thanksgiving was done, I'm sure he had this paint scheme loaded up and ready to go, and that's the true way to get into the holiday cheer here. Just a couple of races to go here in this championship, and we end up finishing just after, I believe, New Year's. So. We'll kind of get the holiday season in. The guys will have a little bit of a chance here to have some holiday races, holiday-style races. I think if you even go back here to Brent Jones in the 89, a similar kind of frosty paint scheme it looks like there on that, kind of that light blue paint scheme as well. So we'll probably see more of these coming up in the coming weeks as well.
You know, these guys, they played it well. You know, you might call me a Scrooge or anything, but I believe back in my day, we used to celebrate, the holidays after Thanksgiving. None of this beforehand. I had a friend that was I was in Florida the other week who he'd already taken down his Thanksgiving decorations before Thanksgiving.
Oh my
Oh
gosh. Yeah.
man.
Well, the greatest thing is, so I flew home for Thanksgiving, and when I left, I don't believe, at least I didn't notice it, there was no Christmas tree in the Indianapolis airport. But you can be sure as heck that when I landed in the Indianapolis airport, there was a massive Christmas tree right in the middle of the terminal one day after Thanksgiving. I'm like, yep, you know it's in season now.
Looks like we have an issue with the 41 of Dallas Myhan there. He's either re-entering the track or had somewhat of an issue, but he was inside the top 10.
Let's take a look here. What happened to Dallas Myhan? Gets passed there by Scott Crump. There could be contact here maybe off the corner.
Taking a look, everything looks pretty good so far. Heading into turn 1.
Maybe it might not have been this lap. Might be this coming up lap here. That might be what the replay is getting ready to show us. So be ready. Okay, side by side there into that corner. Oh, might just get tight here. Now keeps it.
Gets it off the wall there. Now he finds himself in between the 11 and the 90. He's been flirting with that outside roll, but here comes the 11. Ooh, is there contact between the two right here? Let's see. Once again, entering this corner.
Yeah, so we're a couple of laps delayed here, folks. We'll try and see what's going on here. The goal is to find what happened to Dallas Myhan, and it's tough to say exactly, really there.
Yeah, so we're not missing anything with only 15 cars on the track there, but there's Tyler Cody who gets away out of him. Thankfully, this seems to be a single car issue. I don't think anybody else has been dropping on the leaderboard as well, but
yeah, nothing quite yet. Dallas Myhan currently still on pit road, so significant damage to this 41 car. I suspect it's going to happen here, in one... Oh, there we go. Loose there. Yep. Oh, just misses Matthew Weeks.
Did.
There's
that
the damage.
Is very unfortunate there for a guy that was having a great run so far.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there for Dallas Myhan. He was looking super competitive, a driver well within the top 10 there and looking for a great result. I mean, he's had a heck of a season, quite possibly the most improved driver we've seen from season to season there, Dallas Myhan. Really, really impressed with that 41 car this year. But yeah, man, that's a rough ending there. Just a case that we've seen from a couple of drivers there, just getting loose. Just coming off the corners, especially turns 4 and turns 2. Yeah.
I don't think we talked about just how grueling this racetrack really is. You have 24 degrees of banking in the turns, and then on the straightaways, it's 9 degrees of banking here on concrete. So these guys are... They have their hands full. We don't call them Mouse Monster for nothing. Oh, in the wall, the 29 after the 44 sandwiched them into the outside safer barrier there. He hangs on, but significant right side damage from the 29 car because of that move.
Yeah, absolutely. The call just heard on the radio there. Michael Goodman saying he thought Owens came down possibly. I don't quite know if that's how it looked up here in the booth, but yeah, Jordan Owens, some pretty significant damage there to the right side of the car. Obviously, kind of has to keep it rolling right now to kind of maintain his position here under green flag running. But man, that sucks there for the 29 of Jordan Owens. Was having a good run there, was fighting well with Michael Goodman. I think they just misinterpreted each other there coming off turn number 4 and resulted in that incident.
Man, it does not just go to show how crazy being in the back of the pack is. You are never quite safe. As we take a look, as Matthew Weeks takes a look to the inside of the 90 car, Scott Crump, who's been able to work his way up to the 8th position, but has actually find himself stalled out as of late and actually just lost a position to Weeks in that 11.
Yeah, so Matthew Weeks moving forward there. Really good move there by Weeks. And Scott Crump, I think, has a bit of an issue right now where he's purely a short run car, I think, because just on that last lap alone, he was a tenth and a half slower than Matthew Weeks, which is a huge gap around a racetrack like this when you're talking, a 22 and a half second lap. Once again, on that next lap, again, 2/10 of a second slower than Matthew Weeks in that 11 car. This 90 car, really good on the short run, but you can see he is struggling here as soon as the run exceeds 20 or so laps here, and we'll take a look exactly where we are in terms of stint length. Actually, excuse me, at 20 laps. We're almost at 40 laps in this particular run.
Yeah, just past halfway. And Chad Frankfield did lead that lap. I don't believe we have stages on, but he did lead at least lap 100.
Yeah, he'll lead lap 100, so I believe it's an extra chase point, I believe, but that obviously doesn't matter at this point. But it is an extra point in general, so that obviously helps Chad Frankfield quite a bit.
And still winless this season. Can't believe we're talking about that here so far, but man, could tonight be the night he gets one, or is it going to be ripped away from the 10 car of Jared Rexing? And that is a storyline we have seen play out.
Absolutely, yeah. Rexing was closing for a couple of laps there, but Chad's been responding the last couple of laps. Just a little bit faster that last time by, almost 1/10 of a second faster than Jared Rexing there, to kind of extend his gap a little bit. But I'm sure Chad may be starting to feel a little bit of where Rexing and Massey, though, have both closed up pretty reasonably here to this 15 car, but still nowhere near close enough to really be able to make a move. So we'll keep an eye on this, see how it continues to progress, but right now it still looks very much like Chad Frankenfield in total control of this race, but Jared Rexing certainly lurking. Don't count out Nick Massey either, and Tate Lytle has found his way back into 4th position, a little bit behind these guys, about 2 seconds back from this battle, but Tate Lytle could certainly capitalize if anything happens to these top 3 drivers.
I saw Nick Massey there get really loose out the corner. Had to chase it just a little bit, had just enough. But actually, yeah, we're beginning to see things shape up to be a good 3-car battle, perhaps, between these guys. Nick Massey, he wasn't in the picture when we put the cam on the 10 car, but now he's showing up, and he has some pace in that 48 car.
Yeah, that last lap, Nick Massey was the fastest of the top 3 drivers. He's looking good right now. The problem is I mean, I say he's the fastest. We're talking about right now hundredths of a second separating these top 3 guys. They are matching each other pretty perfectly lap after lap right now. So it's really tough to put any separation there. We go once again, and literally, I mean, the top 3 in terms of lap time separated by 3/100ths of a second on that last lap. Chad Frankenfield, the fastest. Nick Massey just 100th of a second slower. Jared Rexing a further 200ths of a second slower. Again, we're talking about tiny instances of time here. So right now, total matching here in terms of the top 3, total parity here. But as the run goes on, we'll see if anybody starts getting a little bit stronger than the other, as it does look to be getting closer on the screen at the very least.
Big slide from the 48 car right there. I'm telling you, that is a moment that these guys, it might not look as dramatic to the naked eye, but these guys, in fact, we should go on a shot, if we could grind on board, where we see one of the tires, the left front tire, either of the 10 or the 48 car, how these guys are exiting the corner here. You can see right there how much they're having to crank the wheel to the right. Take a look right here with Jared Rexing. He's been so loose off this corner right here. Let's see if it plays out again. Not as dramatically as we saw that time. They're working by some lap traffic, so they might not be as hard on the gas as they navigate through that lap traffic. But I'm telling you, I have seen that car turn to the right.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can see a little bit of movement here. The real thing you're going to want to pay attention to, let's watch this cockpit camera here of Jared Rexing and watch that wheel. Obviously, the smooth inputs are going to be the fastest way around, but you can see has to saw a little bit that quick correction there to the right taking place as he comes off of turn number 4. We'll see again here coming through turns 1 and now 2. Coming off the corner, opens up the wheel a little bit, has to stretch it out just a little bit to the right. So right now, pretty much under control for Jared Rexing, but you guys can see just how easily this thing can step out underneath these drivers. Potentially, we'll see if we can hang on for a little bit of sawing at the wheel there off of turn number 4, but yeah, definitely not an easy ride here for these guys. Remember, there's quite a few bumps on this racetrack, and they're feeling it all through the steering wheel here.
Yeah, so you mentioned that we'll have about 80 laps to go. I don't believe these guys can make it on fuel. So I think we need to go at least one more green flag pit stop. We last went green about 40 laps ago. I think it was lap 80. And if my calculations are correct, I think they can go about 110 on just one tank of fuel.
Yeah, it seems to be somewhere around that number. 90, I think, to 100 laps is probably what we'll expect in terms of fuel. I'll be shocked if we do get that green flag pit stop here. But, you know, we are probably getting close there. 50 laps on this stint here. Going to have to run another 50 laps to reach that pit window. But in theory, we're inside that window where you could come down pit road right now. Obviously, a very big risk because you'll probably end up going, I'd say, you know, 2, maybe 3 laps down there if you come down pit road under green.
Pit road is just so long and so slow. I believe it is one of the slowest pit roads we go to for the size of the racetrack at 35 miles an hour. Virtually. So these guys are crawling, and that translates to at least losing 2 laps under green, if not more. So, Chad Frankenfield still with the lead, looking for that first win of the season. Jared Rexing right behind him, and Nick Massey trying to challenge there. In fact, he might just have that, as some of our top 5 is going to make their way onto pit road. Our first non-chaser is Josh Adams.
Yeah, how about this? So a nice call there. I like this call for Josh Adams. Obviously, nothing to lose for this 90 car. Could be massive gains, you know, because we're talking about drivers right now rolling around, you know, 1.5 to 2 seconds off of the fastest times that they've run tonight. Josh Adams comes in here. He could be leading the race, obviously, later. It could obviously shake out a little bit differently, but I like this gamble here from this 95 car.
Yeah, I do like that as well, too. We saw how fast that 8 car was when he had pitted, even with damage on the front end. He was blazingly fast, so that tells me that tire wear is definitely a factor toward these the end of this one if we see more drivers go down pit road.
Yeah, how about this, though? Nick Massey looking really, really racy versus Jared Rexing here. Past couple of laps, Massey now starting to separate himself a little bit more and more from this 10 car. The previous lap these guys ran, Nick Massey was about 1/10 of a second faster than Rexing. This last time around, they matched each other, but Massey is right there on the bumper of the 10 car, and that's probably why here. Get ready to watch, I think, this 48, maybe ducking down to make a move, whether that's going to be in turn number 1, but he was loose off of 4, so has to gather it up.
Yeah. All but was in the wall out on the exit of turn 4 right there. And these guys, I mean, trying to set up a pass here is work. You can reach a guy here, as we're seeing with the 48 in 10, but passing him is a whole different story. You got to set up that pass on the straightaway before you even get a chance to try and see what you can do with it while you enter the corner.
Yeah, and Rexing responding really well, though, I'll say that. I don't know if Massey maybe has fallen off a little bit. It kind of looks like that. Massey's fallen off quite a little bit, but Rexing, I think, has responded really well as well. You know, big separation now in terms of the lap time in the top 3 that last lap around. It ended up being 0.2 of a second between the fastest and the slowest. So, yeah, I mean, here we go. The pace picking up for these guys. At least it looks like Rexing might be the faster of these 3 cars. Possibly Massey, if he can get back to that 10 car. It looked like he used up a little bit of his tires, though, and you know, look out for one of these guys potentially making a move here to come down pit road, potentially the race-winning move. You've got to watch out, though, if you're Chad Frankenfield, because expect the guys behind to do the opposite of whatever decision you make.
Exactly, but just behind them, look at the 95 car for Belly Up Racing. Joshua Adams doing a great job on newer tires. He made light work of the 48 car, trying to get around the 10 and the 15. He'll cut to the inside right there.
And this is
and no match.
Yeah, this is important here as well because in just about probably a corner's time, Joshua Adams will be back on the lead lap. And so that's no disadvantage now if a caution comes out. Even then, before he was the lucky dog situation. You've got a small field here. This is a great gamble here from the 95, and this could potentially pay off massively, especially if we have a caution late in the race. I think that gives him a great opportunity. It nullifies any kind of movement forward from some of these drivers who might wait a little bit in terms of making their final pit stop in this event. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out here. I'm expecting one more caution, so from that point of view, I like the move from Josh Adams. And excuse me, Adams actually undid excuse me, Joshua Adams came back from 2 laps down. He is now 1 lap down, but expect it shouldn't be more so than probably 15 to 20 laps here before he's back on the lead lap, if not less.
Yeah, and that's also important to note because 2 laps down, even with a small field, it's just so hard to get to come back from 2 laps. But 1 lap down, that is manageable.
He is still the lucky dog, and yeah, 1 lap down, lucky dog. This is, that's about as good as the situation as you could potentially get there.
The front 3, though, are almost nose to tail. Rexing the lone bow tie in a sandwich of blue ovals right there. They're coming across the 44 of Michael Goodman, and a little bit of a blip out of the 15 right there.
Yeah, look at how tight this makes this pack here. Michael Goodman gets out of the way, but this gives a great opportunity here to Jared Rexing. But I think this is the closest we've seen him on this particular run to make a move on Chad Frankenfield. He goes high in 3 and 4, maybe setting up a run to try and make a move into turn number 1. Let's see what can Rexing put together here. He's looking racy on Chad Frankenfield. Nothing yet.
You saw him actually set up that move to take a look. That began in turn 4. It just did not end the way he wanted in turn 1. But he's right up there again. Let's see what happens this lap. Oh, Frankenfield is going to try and go down pit road. He's got to get down. Did he make it?
Oh,
no!
He missed it! Wow!
Frankenfield was a big miscue trying to get onto pit road, and now did he just give away that golden ticket we were talking about to Rexing and the 48 car?
Man, that's so unfortunate for Chad Frankenfield. Was looking so good all race long. You can't make a mistake like that here, especially in the final round of the chase. Frankenfield has to go around for another lap. The question is, does he decide to dive down pit road now? Yes, he does. So there you go, but huge damage done by missing pit road that time by. Has to stay out, losing so much time to his competitors. We'll see, though, how this plays out with him getting the undercut, but man, oh man. Yeah, I mean, if I'm, Jared Rexing, Nick Massey, I might even want to come down pit road right now to really seal in Chad Frankenfield's fate.
I would definitely agree, and we didn't touch about it, but something that Dover is known for by all drivers, virtual and in the real world, this is the toughest pit road to enter under green. We have seen numerous drivers lose it and find themselves into the barrels. The 48 car is in, and I believe the 10 trying to get there as well.
Tate Lytle in there as well.
Rexing missed it! Rexing did miss getting onto pit road.
It looked like he did, didn't it?
Yes, he very much did. And so 2 of our championship contenders who had control of this race finding troubles getting on to pit road from 150 miles an hour down to 35. Take a look at the 10 car, almost a carbon copy of the 15, just a couple laps to go.
Gosh, and if you're Nick Massey, this is perfect for you. Matthew Weeks staying out on the racetrack. Now Jared Rexing makes the call to come down pit road. So now where does he come out relative to Chad Frankenfield? Massey out on the racetrack 3 seconds ahead of Chad Frankenfield with fresher tires. So that's huge for this 48 car. Now where does he come out relative to Jared Rexing? It's going to be one more lap around as Rexing finally hits his marks in his pit box. Massey could be in the perfect seat here to win this race here with just under 60 laps to go in this one. But let's take a look once pit road cycles through. A couple of guys, though, still haven't come down pit road. Jared Rexing finally starts getting rolling, but long gone is Nick Massey. There goes that 48 car far away from Rexing. And I think Rexing comes out even behind Chad Frankenfield as well. Frankenfield with that couple of laps of fresher tires. Frankenfield actually just put in a purple lap of the race, so trying to chase down Massey. But man, oh man, this just played beautifully into the driver's hands who didn't make a mistake there. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the 10 car, especially after the mistake that we saw. I mean, when the 15 made his entrance onto pit road, it was right in front of the 10 car. As a driver, that's got to be going through your mind like, hey, your biggest competition just threw it away practically. Let's not make a mistake here and take advantage of that. And unfortunately, the 10 car did not. Who did? Our new leader, the 48, or will be our new leader here in a sec.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks now comes down pit road. So does Harrison Talon. Brent Jones will then take over the lead. Josh Adams, remember, he came down way early in terms of coming down pit road. The gap is 6.5 seconds to Nick Massey, but right now Massey closing that gap pretty rapidly. That last time around, Massey an entire second faster than Josh Adams. So yeah, definitely looks like I think Nick Massey could be the driver who wins out in this particular battle here, at least versus Josh Adams.
Has to avoid an ailing 97 car of Alexander Van de Sant, who just got in the wall right there.
How about Tate Lytle as well? He's in front of Chad Frankenfield. We'll see if he can stay there. Frankenfield, a man on a mission right now. I think, a little bit of a blink there for the 15, but I think Frankenfield expect him to get by. He should be able to recover, I think, to finish second in this race, but he might just have been too far back to really catch up to Massey here. We'll see, though.
Let's not catch him out, though. Yeah, it is only a second, but the advantage does go to the 48 car with the newer tires.
Yeah, 48 has newer tires and track position now, and Chad Frankenfield still has to get by Tate Lytle here, and that's proving to be maybe a little bit more difficult than Chad was hoping. But yeah, as it stands now, Brent Jones currently still leads over Josh Adams. Adams now 3.5 seconds only ahead of Nick Massey. I think Adams potentially going to fall off here. He needs a caution to come out in about 1 or 2 laps at the very latest. Otherwise, I think the strategy here for Josh Adams might be out the door.
But it was a good strategy call, though, as you had mentioned there. Nothing to lose. Exactly. So why not put yourself in a spot where you could take advantage of if a caution flag comes out? Yeah,
it was high risk but very high reward. Obviously, he's going just to get race wins. And if you're trying to, you maybe don't have 100% the pace or you don't have the track position, that's the way to do it. That's maybe a little bit too aggressive, but man, oh man, I love the move when he made it. I'm gonna stick by that. The fact that I was a fan of that move, and unfortunate that it didn't work out for him. But still some ways to go here. It could still come to a caution flag. And we could potentially still see Josh Adams leading this if the field goes under yellow. But Nick Massey is approaching pretty rapidly.
There he is right now. And he's been up to the second position. So this is a battle for the lead. It is the race-winning move that we are about to see. The 48 car Massey to the inside, cutting to the left, down the back stretch. And Massey will take the lead away from the 95 car, putting a championship contender en route to a win, and perhaps that golden ticket we talked about to Homestead.
But look at the car who's now in second place, just passing Josh Adams. How about this 56 of Tate Lytle, pitted 1 lap later than Nick Massey, so slightly fresher tires, but running some pretty competitive lap times right now when closing in on that 48 car. Just closed 0.2 of a second on that last lap around. This last time by, actually, Massey responds, though, going a little bit faster than Tate Lytle, so might be second is all that Lytle can pull off here, but that would still be a very impressive result there for the 56 car, who we were talking about might be in, a little bit of damage control here tonight, finishing maybe in the low half of the top 10, but right now looking to potentially pull off a second place finish.
And we saw Chad Frankenfield. He was right on the back bumper of the 56 car. Has lost some time there and is now falling into the clutches of that 10 car, Jared Rexing, who has to be thinking to himself, what might have been? Both these drivers have to be thinking to themselves, what might have been had they not missed pit road on the one and only green flag stop of the night.
Yeah, for Rexing, this is a little bit of solace. He'll grab 2 positions here, and I think Rexing can still grab a top 3 finish. For Chad Frankenfield, though, I mean, talk about the race he ran today. That one mistake, how quickly it can all unravel on you. But Rexing, the pace there is in that 10 car. The tires are with that 10 car. He'll get by this 15 here. He'll get by Josh Adams as well. But Frankenfield, from leading the race and potentially having the control to win this event ahead of Nick Massey as well as Jared Rexing. to a quick mistake entering pit road, and yeah, now looks like probably a P4 finish, barring any kind of late race cautions here. But I mean, still quarter distance to go in this one. Still a lot of action can still take place.
See Chad Frankenfield get to the inside of Adams there, but he has lost touch with the competitors who were behind him just 10 laps to go or so. My, how things can change. Nick Massey. I don't know, we really circled him as a driver who would win here tonight there, but when everybody else has a mistake and you put yourself in position to capitalize, that's what we're seeing. And the guys that have not made a mistake tonight, the 48, the 56, they're set to leave here with bigger point leads than the guys behind them.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's thinking big picture in races like this, especially where mistakes are made, and if Nick Massey locks himself in, I mean, what a deserving season from him to step into the Cup, the Cup Series here, and to put on the performances he has. 2 wins already on the season. Again, far from over here, especially with Tate Lytle here hanging on, keeping time with Nick Massey. Things can very quickly change there as well. But looking at that, Massey, Lytle, Rexing, Frankenfield, those are 4 drivers you've got to look out for, I think, in this round. Chris Wright, certainly don't count him out. I think Matthew Weeks can certainly spring maybe a little bit of a surprise there, grabbing a win or even pointing his way in, especially if Lytle grabs a win. But yeah, I mean, a lot of talent in this round, of course, but especially these top 4 drivers, I think, have shown time and time again that they have pace. It's always going to come down to execution in these final 3 races, of just who makes the fewest mistakes here out on the racetrack. And right now, we saw Rexing and Frankenfield gave up potential race wins here, potential golden tickets, as you were saying, to make that final 4. Could that come back to bite them, in 2 weeks' time?
Well, you got to make sure you watch every lap. You never know what might define the season. And that move right there made by the 15 and the 10 car certainly did not help their chances of making it to Homestead, or at least make it any easier. As we see this 56 car, Tate Lytle, try to do all he can to get to the back bumper of that 48 car. You want to know something? I have to say how life imitates art. Guess who won this race in the real world last year, Rashad?
Oh, I should know this, shouldn't I? Are we talking about the fall race or the spring race?
Well, Dover used to have 2 dates. We actually only went here once. So there's only one race date.
Last year we only went here once. Man, okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Are you talking about 2021?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I'm sorry. I meant this year. I'm so sorry. I was thinking last season.
No worries. Okay, I can actually tell
mistake.
you that. All right, I can actually tell you that. It was, in fact, the 48 car, was it not?
It was. Alex Bowman, who was able to get that because of a mistake made on pit road by a teammate. That was actually Kyle Larson, I believe, was in control to try and win that race.
Yep.
Shocker there. But didn't get the win there. Did not stop them from getting a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish for Hendrick Motorsports that day.
I do remember that one, yep.
But yes, the 48 car, no stranger to victory lane at Dover at all.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson and Alex Bowman combining at the Monster Mile. That's a scary win sheet, I'm sure.
Not a bad number to have on the side of your race car when racing here.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, Tate Lytle's looking strong right now. Continues to just chip off little by little, lap after lap. I don't know. Again, I think track position might just be a little bit too important here to allow Tate Lytle to finally make that move and kind of pass. But I think he's going to be hounding Nick Massey, putting pressure on Nick Massey all the way to the end of this race if we stay green here.
I definitely believe so. And, just before our one and only green flag pit stop, I had taken notice of that 56 car. He had been at 1.2.5 seconds back. He had chipped his way all the way up to about a second and a half. So he has been able to slowly but methodically work his way into this position. And just like what we were saying, on a day where everybody's having a mistake, they're having great days, but making mistakes. The 56 car is just having a good day, and a good day could turn into a great day based on other people's performances.
Yeah, drivers, man, oh man, it's guys who are running further behind, they're really hoping, I think, for a caution or something to come out here, because it's really shrunk down to this two-man race here in Massey, Lytle. And they continue trading lap times here, just back and forth between the two of them, but still advantaged by half a second for Nick Massey. Chad Frankenfield in the 4th spot right now, 3 seconds though back on Jared Rexing. He's just going to have to settle in, I think, for the night if we stay green here. It's interesting how these green flag pit stops have kind of spread out this field pretty significantly.
Yes, only 8 cars on the lead lap. Question, you might be wondering, where did our pole setter go? That's Scott Crump. He had worked his way up to the 7th position, but now he finds himself a lap down outside of the top 10 in 11th.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy there how things kind of fared for Scott Crump. Had extended time on pit road, so my guess is just some more damage to repair on that 90 car. And doing that under green flag conditions, I mean, that's not great there at all. You see stationary time 54 seconds for Scott Crump versus the standard time we expect here to be around 15 seconds. So, yeah, big time loss there by the 90 car. Really going to hurt him in terms of championship hopes, but still finishes ahead of the likes of Van de Sant and David Tooker as well, who didn't show up tonight. So, obviously, I mean, not great, not terrible. He's got some work to do, though, for sure, heading into the next 2 races.
Yeah, but something that despite having a bad day here, that 90 car on any track is a threat to perhaps win. So we'll see if Scott Crump, you put his back against the corner, how will he respond? It could be dangerous for the rest of the field.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen him show great performances time and time again. But yeah, the question is going to be what happens when we get to crunch time. And there you see, actually, it's Crump about to get lapped here by our race leader, Nick Massey. So going down 2 laps here to the 48 car. Just, I think the pace isn't quite in this 90 car after a couple of hits either. We'll see, though, how easy he makes this for Massey, since he is already a lap down, and Massey's got Tate Lytle on his tail as well, and that gap closing down pretty quickly. Tate Lytle now very much in shot of that 48 car.
Traffic, imagine that, playing a factor once again as the leader's trying to navigate around. There goes Scott Crump. He'll get out of the way there, a little bit of a buffer. The 38 car also gave way to the 56. That's something as a driver, the leader, it's much harder to get through lap traffic as the leader than it is in second place, because, you're the one trying to put a lap down, other competitors a lap down. Once you get to the second place guy, the damage is already done. You can typically just go by.
Yeah, that's typically how it works, but Tate Lytle right now not quite able to get by Scott Crump, and what this is actually allowing is, you might have seen a little splash of yellow in the back of your screen there.
I saw that.
Jared Rexing has been closing the gap on these 2 leaders. He's now within 0.7 of a second of Tate Lytle. You see there, Van de Sant goes by on fresh tires, but Van de Sant down a few laps here from these leaders, quite a few laps actually, but just rolling around trying to grab points where he can. But yeah, Rexing, how about this? Could Jared Rexing come back from that big mistake, missing pit road, and still go on to win this? The pace in that 10 car certainly looks like it. 0.2 of a second right now, faster than our 2 leaders every lap. And with 24 laps to go and just a second gap to the lead, this could be a very real possibility for this 10 car.
Yeah, you see Nick Massey's been able to stretch it out a little bit over Tate Lytle, but I don't believe that 56 car is going to lay over for that 10. Scott Crump there going to provide a little bit of a buffer, at least down this straightaway here. 22 laps to go. 23.
Crump not making it easy at all. He's running a very aggressive line in front of Jared Rexing. You can see they're cutting him off again. Kind of surprising there. He could have left that lane very much open for this 10 car, but Scott Crump not making it easy for anybody here to lap in, which is it's an interesting tactic here. Again, 2 laps down. This is the lead fight, but I mean, these guys are effectively his title rivals, so I suppose you are entitled to do that.
Like Rexing will be able to get around him that time by. Settle his sights now on that 56 car. More lap traffic ahead of the 48 car, and he has to navigate a little bit better than what he did last time, because that 56 car was able to get around him, and now that 10 car is flying.
Yeah, so easily past Michael Hosek there in the 24. Hosek doing a good job of just kind of staying out of the way there. The real battle, I think, might be here between the 56 and the 10 car. With that kind of issue that Jared Rexing had getting past Scott Crump, I think it's going to be tough for him to make up all of that time on Nick Massey, as he now sits just a little bit under a second and a half behind Nick Massey. Yeah, so definitely lost some time there. We'll see, though, if he can close up on Tate Lytle, regain some of that track position again. A tenth of a second faster than Tate Lytle, might be able to grab second spot here before the end of this one. 20 laps to go, though. Just a tenth of the distance.
And also, to keep note, the 48 car has the freshest tires, I believe, of the 56 and the 10 car, definitely. Actually, the 10 car might have fresher tires there than the 48 car, because he had to go around another lap.
Yeah, the 10 car has the freshest tires of these three. Then Tate Lytle has the next freshest. Then the 48 has the next freshest. So it's in reverse running order right now. So that's also, there you go, add a little bit more intrigue to it. Last time around, Tate Lytle, was able to gnaw off about a tenth of a second, maybe even just about a tenth and a half there from Nick Massey. Jared Rexing grabbing about a tenth of a second off of Tate Lytle. So it's going to start compressing again. This could be a very exciting finish here with 18 to go.
Oh, that old accordion. Things had that strung out look to it, and just as we're getting near the end of this one, it looks like everything is coming back together. I am impressed by that 10 car after making that mistake. Did not let Miles the Monster get the best of him so far. He's been able to rebound there. But you have to wonder, anything less than a win for the 10 car might come as a disappointment.
Yeah, I think after seeing Chad Frankenfield's mistake, I think you've got to be thinking this. If you're Jared Rexing, this should have been your race. You saw the mistake, you knew what happened, and you knew what you had to avoid, and still ended up going out and making that same error, and that's tough. And like you said, I mean, this is one of the hardest pit roads to enter here on the NASCAR circuit. So, partially you almost expect those mistakes maybe sometimes, but at this point, with this much pressure and this much on the line in these races, that's something you got to kind of sort out in practice and make sure you've got that nailed down, especially on these worn tires when you're breaking down. But yeah, I mean, Jared Rexing looks strong right now. We'll see what he can do. 14 to go. He's got great pace in that 10 car. He was, again, challenging for the lead. We know he's fast. The question is just going to be, can he get by these two cars, and can he make that work? Nick Massey right now looks like he's in total control. Tate Lytle's going to be the first obstacle here, and the first chance for us to see what this 10 car has, I think.
Yeah, pit road. This race was won and lost for others on pit road there on that exchange pit stop. So we'll see what happens there as Rexing, he's gnawing ever so closer to the back bumper of that 56 car. And if he gets around them, he definitely has the pace and the ability to get to the back bumper of that 48 car.
Looks like Lytle was maybe a little bit loose there coming off of turn 4, just kind of having to wheel the car a little bit. And this is now giving a bit of an advantage here to Jared Rexing. We'll see how Tyler Fode plays into this. Rexing, though, to the inside. He's at the quarter panel of the 56 car, and down to the bottom of the racetrack goes Jared Rexing for second spot. He's got it on Tate Lytle.
Yes. Newer tires up to second place. Now they've got to work through the wounded car of Tyler Fode in that 40 car. He gives way.
Yeah,
now
nice
open
job.
racetrack. 10 laps to go. That's only 10 miles.
Yeah, and
Can he get it done?
7/10 of a second to close in here for Jared Rexing. I don't think he can get there. I think this is Nick Massey's to lose right now. The pace is good for Jared Rexing. He's pushing hard. He can close that gap a little bit, but it's going to take you 2-3 laps to set up a move, so he has to be on the bumper of that 48 car. I'd say with 5 to go if you want to have a safe shot at making a pass here. But I don't think he's going to get a chance to be there. That last time around only took 0.02 of a second off of Massey. They'll come around this time by cross the stripe. That time, Massey actually faster than Rexing, so this is not the pace that Rexing needs right now. It looks right now to be very much Nick Massey's race to lose.
Yellow is
flags.
out!
Whoa!
That's why it's never over until it is over. Talon in the 23 with an extremely hard hit to the outside wall, and he collects the 89 of Brent Jones.
Wow. So 7 cars on the lead lap. They're all, I would assume, oh man, actually that's a good question. I would assume you all come down yeah, you 100% coming down for tires. Absolutely, no question about it.
Especially with this little amount
this few cars on the lead lap,
lap.
100% coming down pit road for tires. So everybody on the same tires now. It's all going to be a track position game. Tate Lytle potentially could be the man in the perfect position here. It's going to be dependent on who Nick Massey decides to line up in front of, whether that's Tate Lytle or potentially Chad Frankenfield.
Oh, you saw the 10 car there. Get everything he can to be right on the back bumper of the 48 car, because the race could also be won by winning the race off of pit road. So we'll see what happens here. We expect 4 tires going on all of these machines.
Yeah, so you can see here the 48 actually maybe going a little bit under the pit speed limit here, just to kind of keep everybody in check at the very least. So rolls onto pit road. Everybody looks like they roll on steadily there. Nobody missing their pit boxes. That's good. Frankenfield actually misses a little bit. That could hurt him. But here we go. This will be the race off of pit road. Rexing versus Lytle. Both of them beat both of them beat Nick Massey off of pit road, and it's Lytle. Wow. Chris Wright though with the two tire stop.
So
no
Wright is
stop.
going to be able. Oh, okay.
No
Wright is a sitting duck.
Yeah.
Wright is a sitting duck right now, but he'll have control, which could work for Jared Rexing and Nick Massey on the bottom of the racetrack, because no matter what, they're going to have to restart behind Chris Wright. And so Tate Lytle with 4 fresh tires on the outside lane. Oh, actually, no. There goes Chris Wright. He's going to go down to the bottom.
Yeah.
So we don't even have to analyze that.
Here's the thing. You want to talk about, being good, and being good in crunch time. Look at those times right there. Tate Lytle versus Jared Rexing versus Nick Massey. Tate Lytle 52.4 on and off of pit road, and that's when you enter the first cone and exit the last cone. That is almost an entire second faster than what Jared Rexing pulled. Over a second faster than what Nick Massey pulled. Well over a second than what Chad Frankenfield pulled. Almost 2 seconds over what Chad Frankenfield pulled. That is what wins championships right there, is performing when the performance is supposed to be equal. Pit road, I mean, it's entirely done by a computer on pit lane, and if you look at specific pit stop times, there's virtually no difference. About a tenth of a second, maybe faster for Tate Lytle, but he gained a second on Jared Rexing by how well he entered and exited his box, and that right there is performing. That's how you can win a championship here. That one might have won Tate Lytle this race as well, potentially. Still a long way to go, still a green-white checker to go, but man, that's huge there. That's the money stop that we always talk about.
Tate Lytle, on a day that we said he wasn't great, could end up winning this race.
Yeah, man, oh man. And if you're Nick Massey, I mean, you're just thinking to yourself, I had this in the bag, right? I mean, same thing with Chad Frankenfield, right? I had this in the bag. It comes down to, and it wasn't really a mistake, I think, for Massey. It just wasn't perfect execution like you saw there from Lytle, or better execution from Rexing. And he ended up falling down to third position here. So we'll see how he restarts. Tate Lytle picking the top lane by the looks of it. So if you're Chad Frankenfield, you absolutely love that. But man, oh man, this is going to be an intriguing restart. Not going to be a green-white checker, actually. It's going to be with 4 laps to go once we head to the green flag.
And I believe we're going to see Tate Lytle just immediately stomp on it. Why even give your competition a chance to try and get to your back bumper once that pace car hangs that left onto pit road? So are we done seeing the yellow flag? That is a question that is yet to be determined here, but 4 miles and a golden ticket to Homestead on the line.
Yeah, I mean, only 17 cars actually running on the racetrack. I'd hope there's not another caution here, but who knows when you've got these guys all packed together. It's been a hot second since we had our last caution, but here we go. Tate Lytle, Jared Rexing on the front row. Look for that 15 car to get a good restart. Nick Massey as well, maybe trying to pull something together, but he's in a rough spot. There you go, early launch for Tate Lytle, and away they go. 4 laps to go when they cross the line.
Jared Rexing had to respond to that there just a little bit late. Chad Frankenfield on the outside of the 48 of Nick Massey, who was in control of this race. Just 2 laps to go. Rexing has had a faster car than the 56 all day long. Can he put that to use as they are side by side for third and fourth place behind him?
Massey looks like he's going to get the better of Chad Frankenfield. He has that preferred line on the bottom. Frankenfield didn't get away the way he might have hoped, and this could be really hurtful now for Frankenfield as he's got a lot of quick cars right behind him. For Tate Lytle, though, it's a solid gap back to Jared Rexing, 0.4 of a second, and with 2 laps to go, that could be tough for Rexing to close here. Could we see a lunge move potentially from Jared Rexing? I don't quite know. I don't quite think he'll go for that. Might want to just take the points if he can, but here we go.
I don't think he's close enough to do that move there, Rashad. He's got to be even closer than that as Chad Frankenfield now breaks free up into the third position there. But we're going to face the white flag this time by 1 lap to go here at Dover. The cars, the 10 and the 15, thought they had a shot to get to Homestead, but mistakes on pit road put those guys in a hole. The guy who didn't make a mistake, that 56 car, Tate Lytle. On a day where we thought he wasn't great at all, he's going to prove everyone wrong and enter Homestead with a chance to win a championship. Tate Lytle gets it done in the Byrd 200 at Dover.
Wow. What a drive by Tate Lytle. What an incredible job. And tonight, I mean, the word of the night has to be execution, where everybody made mistakes in some way, shape, or form. You didn't have to be the fastest guy out there. You didn't have to put in the most ridiculous lap times. And to be fair, Tate Lytle put some pretty respectable lap times. But you look at like Chad Frankenfield, Nick Massey, Jared Rexing, they were all faster than Tate Lytle ultimate pace. But when it came down to it, total execution over 200 laps, you cannot beat this 56 car, and that is what he has excelled at all season long. Look out for this guy, because he's now got a 2-week break to relax. We saw this last round. No stress at all in that 56, in the voice of the 56 driver from Tate Lytle. He hung out with us at Talladega. He hung out with us at Richmond up here in the booth after getting taken out from those races. No stress at all because he came back in the first race of the final round of this championship and came out with a win. What a drive by Tate Lytle. I mean, he's going to burn it down here at Dover. What a celebration by this 56 car.
I mean, I'm speechless there, Rashad. I mean, I'm going to have to, during our interview, I'm going to have to eat my words. I tell him, like, is this unexpected? This guy is just, he's not doing very much right now in the 7th and 8th position, but as many times as I said, what do I know up in the booth? He proved everyone wrong.
I was going to say, for those of you in the audience who've watched the past couple of seasons, and Alex, you've also been with us for a couple of seasons here in the booth as well. I've been able to call the last 3 seasons. You were with us season prior to last as well as this season. We've never come into the, as you see celebration hit there from Harrison Talon, we've never gone into the championship finale, I think, with a clear favorite. I think that's changed this season because Tate Lytle has excelled at every type of racetrack that we go to. And if I'm honest, when I think about Tate Lytle and what his best racetrack is, I think of Homestead Miami Speedway. And we'll ask him in when we interview him here, but I do think of Homestead Miami Speedway about that being kind of a good track for him and being a place where he is extremely competitive and could very easily win a race there. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I think for the first time in my eyes, we have a championship favorite.
I could not agree with you more. I really believe you're going to see this championship. It's going to have to go through that 56 car. Let's see if we can get some of our podium finishers here tonight.
Yeah,
Chad Frankenfield and Jared Rexing able to rebound, but this one is going to sting.
Yeah, this one's gonna sting for sure. 3rd place there for Chad Frankenfield, man. Had great control over the race, especially on that long run. Super good short run speed, really good long run speed. Kind of looked like you had it all together, and then the mistake came entering pit road. Just looked like tires were dead, maybe brakes maybe a little bit cold. Didn't quite get it together. Jared had the same mistake there as well. You both did a good job to recover and be inside this top 3, but surely you must walk away from tonight thinking that could have been a win.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think up until the last restart, I was kicking myself pretty bad. But once the restart happened, it became a matter of, whatever happens. I mean, it could have went either way there. It's a bummer. I mean, it's another another race this season where I felt like I could win or had a race wrapped up and just something happens and it's my fault. I did practice pit stops, but I don't think I practiced pit stops on 70 lap old tires. So um, it's just a rookie mistake, and hopefully it doesn't cost me a spot in the final four. So we'll see. I mean, next week is Nashville, I think. So I think I'll be all right there. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bummer, but it could always be worse.
You know, that aside, you showed great pace throughout the entire race there, and you look to be a factor as we get into the end of this season here. There's a lot to hang your head high on as we get to the final two races before Homestead. Where do you think you have the best advantage to make sure you are a part of that championship four once we get there?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to consistency and just making sure that I'm doing everything I need to do to put the car in the right spot, not make any mistakes. Like I can't make another mistake like it did tonight. Like that just can't happen. And if it does, I won't make the next round. I won't make the championship four. So, um, obviously, kudos to Tate. I mean, he's been the class of the field this season. He's made it very easy for himself every round. Um, but we got to get after it in Nashville. I think Nashville is a track where the driver is going to really be really matter. I think. And then the final race of the round, Charlotte, it's going to be just going to be a big draft pack race, and it's going to be, I think, a lot of it's going to be putting yourself in a spot where you don't get hurt. Um, so that's going to be the biggest thing moving forward. So, yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
All right. Well, I'm still a great result here. P3, a lot of points on the board here, Chad Frankenfield. Want to give you a chance to make some shout-outs here on the air.
Yeah, so I think days going by, Vintage Apparel, C2 Freight, because we just locked them up for next year, which is awesome. Thank you guys for broadcasting, and yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season.
All right. Well, best of luck in the next two rounds here, Chad Frankenfield. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you once again here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, third place finisher there, Chad Frankenfield. Certainly could have been thinking what could have been, and same here for Jared Rexing. Both you and Chad with a similar mistake there coming onto pit road. You must be thinking, that could have been a win, that should have been a win. Still have to be, though, pretty happy with the second place finish, I think, at the end of it all. What are your thoughts there on that race, Jared Rexing, as well as kind of that green flag pit stop that went a little bit awry?
Yeah, it was a good race all in all. Had some good green flag runs in there. My long run pace was a lot better than I expected. And yeah, I mean, we can play the what if game all day long. If I would have got on pit road right, but if Chad would have got on pit road good, it would have been a race between me and him. And so, I mean, maybe I would have been first coming onto pit road for that last caution, but I mean, Tate had a killer pit stop. I don't know how he did that. So congrats to Tate, but yeah, I mean, second's pretty good. I can't complain too much.
I wanted to ask you, Jared Rexing, you seem to have basically put on the afterburners here when it comes down to the end of this championship round here. You're consistently having some good runs. Where do you think is your best shot to get that win and perhaps make your way into the championship four over these next 2 weeks, Nashville or Charlotte?
I expect Nashville really to kind of run similar to tonight. It's a bigger track, but it's small enough to have the short track package, concrete track, pretty much one groove on the bottom. So theoretically, if I can run good tonight, I should run good there. And Charlotte should be pretty fun, depending on what they do with the setup and weather and all that. So I don't know what the points are going to look like. I should be maybe 3 or 4 up at the end of the day. If I can just keep rolling out top fives, I think just getting top fives, I can go into the championship four and really give it my all. I don't know. Yeah, to touch on where the speeds come from the last few weeks, I really don't know. Yeah, I started this season off thinking, what am I doing with this car? But I guess things are clicking, and what better time?
Yeah, I mean, what better time? It's really looking good for this 10 car, looking good for you, man. Obviously, seems like the tracks that are coming up are ones that kind of suit your driving style and what you like. But yeah, we just want to give you a chance while we've got you here to make some shout outs on the air.
Yeah, shout out to Tate. He really came in clutch there at the end, got the win. That was good for him. He was probably going to go to the championship 4 anyway with his points gap. Shout out to my wife, working right now as a nurse, so she's putting in all the work, and I get to play. That's awesome. And shout out to you guys in the booth. Being here every week, and you guys do a great job, and we appreciate you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jared Rexing there, and best of luck in the coming 2 weeks. Hopefully, we get a chance to speak with you a few more times here before championship weekend.
Thank you, guys.
All right, second place finisher there, Jared Rexing, recovering a pretty solid result there from what could have been a win, but let's bring him in here. And when I think about this win here, the word that will come to mind is execution. Tate Lytle, to be honest with you, you did not have the fastest car out there tonight. There were guys who put in faster lap times, but when it came down to crunch time, what a great time on and off of pit lane, and a great launch on that final restart to separate yourself from Jared Rexing, put in your best lap time of the race right at the end, executed when it mattered most, and sir, you've got a ticket to the Final Four, and in my eyes, I think you are a favorite for the championship. Talk us through tonight and just what you're feeling right now.
Oh man, I was pumped. The old pit crew. I mean, we saw it a couple weeks ago with old Kyle Larson. His pit crew got him one, and I mean, mine have. They're made of the pixel kind. I don't really know any of their names, but man, they had themselves one hell of a pit stop there on the last stop, and we were. Yeah, Rexing's like, I've never seen anyone jump from third to first on a pit stop, and I was like, I don't think I have either, but I'll take it. And yeah, I mean, we were just trying to save our tires most of the race there. I felt like we were doing a decent job. I mean, I think Rexing still had us beat. Massey still had us beat, and Chad probably still had us beat if he didn't miss pit road. But I mean, still fourth place car. And sometimes you have a fourth place car, things fall on your lap, and that's exactly what happened tonight. And I'm super pumped. Going to go to Homestead here in about 3 weeks' time, and hopefully I'll get myself an early Christmas present and claim my first league championship. It's been a long time coming, so got myself a good chance. Hopefully we can go out and execute out there like we did today.
Well, I'll have to be the first. If you go back to some of the broadcasts that we had earlier today, I flat out said that you were running along the 7th and 8th position. I was like, this is unlike Tate. This is should we be worried about the pace in that car? Then, of course, fast forward 110 laps, and we're talking to you in victory lane once again here. I mean, just walk us through what it's been like this season. This is a dream season. Many people on iRacing would love to have, being competitive, consistently having great runs, being talked to on throughout the respective networks. I mean, just what's it like being you right now currently? That's what I want to know.
I mean, it's still video games. You can't get too wrapped up in it. But, I mean, it's definitely fun. It's definitely fun. It's a great way to, blow off some steam 2 or 3 times a week. Hang out with some guys. I mean, Rich knows I love hanging out with those guys over Pro Edge Racing. Ethan was on top of the box tonight, helping me out, kind of talking me through it. And I mean, it's a great atmosphere to be a part of. And it's fun it's human nature to want to compete, and that's what we do, multiple times a week in this league. And it's a very competitive league. And I mean, I just hit my 10 year on iRacing. I haven't necessarily been on iRacing all 10 years, but I hit my 10 year on iRacing 5 or 6 days ago. And I mean, it was only 3 or 4 years ago where I actually felt like I could go out and get a win. So I mean, it's been a long time coming to actually get to this point. I can remember running leagues back in 2012, 2020, where I was excited to get a top 20. So it's one of those things. I mean, I put a lot of time into it in college. I mean, I blew a lot of steam off during college doing this stuff. So I mean, it definitely is paying dividends right now. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a video game, and it's just something. I mean, video games they give you the emotion of the real life thing. Maybe not quite as extreme as if this was like a real thing, obviously, but I mean, it's still, you get the emotion from it, and you get the competitive side from it, and it may be fake race cars, but it's 100% real racing. So it's, yeah, a lot of fun. Good racing there with Rexing and Chad and Massey. I thought I was going to have Massey there at the beginning of that last run, but my right rear was kind of acted a little funky. I didn't want to stick off of 2, so we were having to baby it, and I ended up letting Rexing go, thinking maybe he can go battle Nick, and maybe it'd fall into my lap that way, but ended up getting a caution, and pit crew did it for me. But yeah, lots of fun. Got to shout out Chad for putting it all together, even though he sometimes I feel like he tries to get under my skin, but it doesn't always work. You guys for sitting up here and watching us it's been 2 hours now since you guys started the broadcast, so thank you guys. You guys are working for minimum wage up here or less, so appreciate it. And got to shout out Ethan Burrell's grandma Carol. She's up in Vancouver, Washington, watching this right now. Ethan wasn't even in the race. She's just big team fan, so got to say what's up to Grandma Carol. Hope you enjoyed the race. And, yeah, we'll catch y'all next week, stress-free.
All right. Congratulations there, Tate Lytle. Enjoy the next 2 weeks of, just relaxing here, and potentially we'll get a chance to have you up in the booth, because it seems like 2 weeks in the booth sets you up pretty nicely for the race after that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't even know what race is next week yet. But in these cars, you never know. So you might see me on lap 7 up here in the booth with you guys.
All right, man. Congratulations again. Gonna go race for a championship in 3 weeks' time, but enjoy this one for now. Have a good night, Tate.
Thanks, guys. Shout out to Brett Wentz, Days Gone By, Vintage Racing Apparel, Etsy store online. Search his Twitter. Go in there, buy some stuff. It's cool stuff. I got a bunch of it. Peace out.
All right, Tate Lytle there, race winner, incredible execution there to win this one. Talked about it. It's been a long time coming for him, looking for that championship here in the Cup Series. And like I said, he feels like a favorite right now. We'll see how the next couple of weeks go. But yeah, I mean, I don't think many people are rolling around in this field with as much confidence as the driver of that 56 car.
Oh, and they shouldn't. They've got to feel heartbroken. And Miles Monster definitely dished it out here tonight there, and 2 people that were on that list were very much finishing second and third. They have to wonder what might have been, but I cannot believe the run that we're seeing from our good friend Tate there. It's good to hear him in such high spirits there, and we look forward to seeing what he can do to try and earn that championship. He is nothing short of deserving, and as you had mentioned there, Rashaf, I definitely believe the favorite entering Homestead.
Yeah, I mean, with that, I think we pretty much have everything we need from tonight here at the Monster Mile here at Dover. It's been it was a really interesting race. I think I love the way it played out. And just how we had some long runs there, like you called. I think right at the start we got some green flag pit stops in. Started out with some cautions, ended with a caution. But man, I think that race played out exactly how you kind of imagine a race around Dover to play out. And it's pace is one thing, and it's great to have pace, but in a race like this where, it's a lot of repetition, 200 laps around a track, you really got to focus on just kind of minimizing mistakes, and you kind of see that in Tate Lytle's victory. So awesome race here. I can't wait for the next 2 weeks, and can't wait for championship week to come up, but it's gonna be pretty exciting here in terms of who the next 3 guys are to fill in the final 4.
Yep, Tate Lytle already occupying one of those spots for Homestead. We'll be seeing in 2 weeks' time who the other 3 will be able to join him. So glad you could join us here tonight for the Elite Racing Network. Another congratulations in order for Tate Lytle in that 56 car winner of the Byrd 200. Make sure you join us next week, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. We are going to be tackling the streets of Nashville. That might sound familiar. That's exactly where the Cup Series is currently having. Actually, every series is currently having their end of the year banquet currently right now. And a lot to be excited for as far as this racetrack here, new for this next gen car to handle as well. That'll be something that these guys will have to tackle for next week. But that begins 8:30, and then Charlotte going to be the next week. afterward before we get to Homestead there to finish out 2021. But before then, I want to give a shout out to all of you guys on YouTube. Thank you so much for taking your Wednesday night and joining us. Shav and I are always blessed to have you guys, an audience here. Tune into this great series. It's one of which I can't imagine missing. The action is always tight. And I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors there, Chad as well, for putting out this league. It's such a great league, and I'm so glad I could be a part of as well. But from all of us here tonight from Elite Racing Network, Blue Wave, C2 Freights, Join APS as well, Response Energy, and Byrd, we want to give you guys a good night, and we will see you next week, 8:30 at Nashville.